Hello, everybody. This is the Rsn Podcast. This is Sal here. I'm with my man Rich.
What's up, guys?
RSN. This is the podcast right here. The podcast to be, the podcast to hear. If you're listening, thank you guys for supporting us. Also, check out Nick's website, PWO Pro Wrestling Opinion. You can check him out on Facebook. You can check us on his website, Pro Wrestling Opinion. There's a lot of great articles, a lot of great stuff. A lot of good coverage. You can check that stuff out right there. He has his whole spiel and stuff. It's really interesting. This is a very interesting time in wrestling, and that's the way to do it is through reading, So PWO, go check that out. Also, be able to check us out on our Facebook page. Give us any likes, give us a share, comment, whatever, anything that helps. If you got any suggestions, please feel free to give any.
Well, the reason why Nick's not here tonight with this podcast, he's catching up with all the current shows that's been happening with WWE, ROH, because as you all know, he's writing for his website. So, Nick, hope you can catch up with that as soon as possible so we could get the three-man group back together.
Indeed, new three-man group. Like we said, this isn't no Four Horsemen podcast. This isn't the cliche, the cliche trio or duo or the group of five people, whatever, Not to say this is a shoot or not, we're just saying this is just, RSN. We're here to just talk about wrestling and basically the performance, the art of it, and all that, And again, Rich, Nick, all three of us work really hard to, really provide all these stuff and everything, all those different things. So, I know Nick, he has his hands full. He has a whole lot of stuff. It's crazy with him.
A lot of research that we have to do to entertain you guys with our podcast. So give us a little bit of time because it takes time to actually research every single topic that we cover for you guys to keep you guys entertained.
True, indeed. We are always looking for stuff, always seeing, and especially now with the wrestling industry, boy, it's really, really interesting what's going on right now.
Especially the fact that there's so many companies that we have to cover.
Indeed, there are so many different promotions, so many different independent, wrestling ventures that happen, so many big events that are happening, especially now when it's the fall, when there's a lot of stuff happening. But, it's crazy. It's really big to catch up. But let me just start off. So today, this is a shoot podcast. So if Rich,
Sal, would you like to describe to our fans what we're actually doing with the shoot podcast since this isn't a regular podcast?
Yeah, I was just gonna go ahead and explain that. I mean, you've heard of what the shoot, what the word shoot means in wrestling, right?
Yes.
I know you're familiar with it.
Oh yeah, I love shoots.
Yeah, I mean, shoots are basically it's an open expression where a wrestler or somebody in the wrestling business basically gives their thoughts openly, and it can be controversial. It can be something subtle. It can be something serious. It can be something along the lines, something on the script, something not on the script,
or just to talk.
Yeah, it could be anything. It could be a simple fuck you or whatever, But if you go online, you type in YouTube, type in shoot, you're gonna see a whole bunch of stuff.
Iron Sheik.
Anything. I mean, you can have a whole lot of names. Rants. You could say shots at people. You could say, whatever, just insults. And there's a lot of stuff on the internet on shoots.
The best shooter is Iron Sheik. Iron
Sheik is a legend of shooters. And plus, there are more names like New Jack. There's also Hunky Tonk Man. There's also, Ric Flair a bunch of times. Bret the Hitman Hart, famously, who gave a lot of shots against a lot of people. CM Punk, as you've seen in the Cole Cabana podcast. These are all shoots. Shoots are basically open messages, basically expressing your thoughts. It can be reality-based. It might not be reality-based. You've seen it on wrestling too. WWE has done it a lot of times. Joey Styles, for example, Paul Heyman, where they've gone to the mic and, they've done it sometimes where it's been scripted, sometimes where it hasn't been.
CM Punk, his famous one before his contract expired, when he beat Cena at Money in the Bank.
Yep, that angle in 2011, that was a big angle, and a lot of people said a lot of stuff, and that blew the wrestling world up. Everybody that didn't watch wrestling at that time began watching it once more.
AJ Lee with her pipe bombshell.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's interesting. Not everything is a pipe bomb, because it always has to be something controversial. But
Yeah.
So there's time where it hasn't been.
So, what do you want to open this shoot with, Sal?
Well, this is a shot. This is a shoot basically. So basically, we're just talking about our take on the wrestling business today or at the moment right now. I mean, we see a lot of things going on right now. Specifically, last month or I think the last 2 months, and sometime in August, two of the members of RSN, me and Rich, we
That
both
was July. Yeah, August, yes.
Yeah, I think it was end of July, beginning of August, I believe, right?
No.
No,
You're talking about the NXT Brooklyn?
Yes,
That
yes.
was the
NXT
end of
Brooklyn.
August.
Yeah, two events. The two events that were back to back in our home right here in Brooklyn, New York. It's
At
crazy.
the Barclays Center.
In the Barclays Center, it was back to back. Fantastic. 15,000 people. Rich, what would you say? How was your experience on those two events? And how would you rate them?
Well, NXT Brooklyn, I give that a 10. Just for the fact
Ty Dillinger?
there was nothing wrong with that show. There was absolutely nothing wrong.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, there wasn't. It was fantastic to see that, and the reaction that it got, well deserved. Well deserved, no doubt.
Best moment though, it's between two matches for me. It was the Divas match with Bayley versus Sasha, which I think was the match of the weekend.
Yep.
Possibly match of the year candidate.
Yes.
Then my second was the main event, Finn Balor versus Kevin Owens in the ladder match.
I think both. Yeah, I mean that whole night basically solidified what wrestling should be, and especially when you're around that Brooklyn crowd, boy, the energy there was electrifying. Period. Like, I gotta say, the Brooklyn crowd had a really fun time.
And it was amazing with Yushin Thunder Liger also.
That was a very good experience. Also, you saw a bunch of international stars, people like Jushin Liger, first time ever in Brooklyn, and to see that ovation from the crowd is crazy. But I mean, personally, from what I'm saying, I agree. I mean, the Divas match, I think that stole the show. Period. That stole the whole weekend, I'd say. Because if you
everyone even said that was match of the year candidate.
Indeed, it was. I mean, it's crazy the way that it happened. It was very, very. And at the ending too, and everything. They told a story with that match, and it was really, very believable. I mean,
Sasha's entrance was amazing, hands down.
Indeed, it was.
Her entrance was amazing.
That was probably the most epic entrances, I'd say, of the year. That was WrestleMania.
Tyler's entrance from the last big NXT event was also good.
I agree, yeah. Especially the way that he performed, it was pretty good. That was the one with the at Brooklyn. He came out with the statue, right? With the people with the
costumes and all that.
Oh, really?
There was one he had prior to that. I think it was the one in. It wasn't the one. It was the one before Japan.
The Fatal 4. No, it wasn't Fatal 4. Wait. I think it was a Fatal 4, right? No.
Yeah. He had a really great entrance with that, too.
I think the way that it happened, I mean, we'll talk about the stats later on in the podcast because there's another topic that we want to draw on that also, ties into what we're talking about later. He's one hell of a talent. I mean, what I didn't know was that he was from Egypt. That really crossed my mind. When I heard him say that, when I heard him on the announcer say his name, I was shocked. I was like, really? He's from Egypt? I was like, damn. It's crazy. Is that a gimmick or is that real? I was like, oh, shit, it's real. I was like, oh, fuck, really? I never knew that.
But that was just a great weekend for Brooklyn.
Indeed, it was. I mean, I'll say, that was my first event ever visiting a WWE event. And I gotta say,
SummerSlam could have been better.
You should have seen it. We were entering the door, and this is how it was. NXT TakeOver, the fans were livid. They were chanting New Day chants. And then the moment you go inside, after TakeOver, and then when you come back the next night for SummerSlam, and when that Brock angle happened, that's it. After that, people were chanting, fuck this company, fuck this company. It was crazy.
I can imagine.
Everybody was ready to get their money back. They were frustrated. I see people coming down the escalator saying, "This is the worst company ever. I'll never buy a ticket." They were frustrated. I mean,
Just
how?
for the fact you have a legend win a match like that.
Indeed, it was disappointing to see that, And on top of that, it was there were a lot of moments people wanted certain things to happen that didn't happen. They were expecting things, but that's the wrestling industry. That's WWE trying to be more intelligent. But the fans, they're more intelligent than anybody. They know everything before anything happens.
Because the internet.
Indeed, and plus, and WWE knows this. We're probably one of the most intelligent wrestling fans in this era, I think, compared to any other era, because now it's more of a reality era. Everybody knows everything. Everybody's really watching wrestling. They know it's fake.
Dirt sheets.
Yeah, they don't believe in it. They don't say, "Oh, they walk in there thinking, okay, this is gonna be a story." They know it in the back of their mind. Whereas a casual fan, which I've seen in Brooklyn, my time there were a couple of fans. They walked in there not knowing a single lick of wrestling, asking the guy next to them what's going on. And they're saying, this is fake. And the guy's like, shut the fuck up. And all he's there to is just to get drunk and fuck around.
If you know it's fake, why would you buy a ticket?
Exactly. Hell, why would you even show up there? That's the thing. But, that's what WWE is trying to do. But, I mean, overall, great night. Great experience. I'd say, that was probably one of the best events, ever. Do you regret not going to SummerSlam? Because I know you went to TakeOver, right?
Yeah.
But you didn't go to SummerSlam and the Monday. I mean, I didn't go to Monday either. I was thinking about it, but I didn't.
I don't regret it.
You don't regret it?
Not really.
I mean, NXT TakeOver was overall the better event. So, you did really that was a smart decision.
Which actually could lead into the next topic, which is Night of Champions.
Indeed. Now we see this whole program being set up for the World Heavyweight Championship. Seth walks out in SummerSlam, wins the belt. He has this little Jesus thing going on where he's supposedly the savior of wrestling in this white attire. You saw that, right?
Yeah.
I saw that reference. I was like, damn, that's it. He's trying to be the savior of wrestling.
He looked more like the White Power Ranger.
And he did. Yes. There was a lot of memes saying that he was the White Power Ranger, and he did that ass look like one. But it was epic. He won the belts, and what ended up happening? He got both titles, and now you see this whole program being surrounded around. On one side, he has one match against Sting, and another match against John Cena.
Which I think is horrible, main eventing the pay-per-view with the U.S. title.
Indeed, I think that is probably one of the worst decisions. I mean, something can change, you never know. Just like, a lot of things. WWE has always pulled some kind of curveball or swerve or something. They've done something there.
If you want to end the show with something big, you end it with Kevin Owens and Ryback. To be honest,
I agree. I mean, that would probably be a good match to end the show with.
Because as much as I hate Kevin Owens, and Sal, you know that for a fact, because how much do me and you argue about that?
Indeed, we do. We always talk about it's always a debate.
He's wrestling right now. He is wrestling.
Indeed, he is. Yes, and indeed, he is probably one of the best. And to see him, if he does walk out, that would be shocking, I mean, that would be like, that's pretty. That means they're pretty much behind him. I mean, you've seen it from the day he walked in. They gave him power.
He had one match, and then he won the NXT title.
And he had like 5 feuds all in one straight program. He was being flown everywhere, fighting all kinds of matches, and he had no problem with that. But see, that's what wrestling used to do. Ric Flair, he once said, I didn't defend this world title every 30 days.
He defended it every week.
He'd fight it every single time. He didn't go ahead and give a shit. He said, I'm going to wrestle. I'm going to defend this title because that's what champion does. But that's the mentality that should be there.
Punk said that also.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason why Bruno had the title for that long, because he only defended it once a month. Punk defended it every single week.
Indeed. I mean, that's what...
if I'm correct, Punk's exact words. If I was around in Bruno Sammartino's era, I would have held the title for 3,000 days.
Agreed, it would be. I mean, the way that he held the title, he broke records. And it's crazy, to see him, do that is a big accomplishment. But, I mean, on the topic of that, he's on UFC now. He basically said a big fuck you to the whole wrestling industry. But this ties into something else. His wife held the Divas title for the longest time, supposedly, and not, which is very disputable because there have been a bunch of other people that have held a women's title for a lot longer. But
Fabulous Moolah, 1,500 days.
That's 30 years right there. That's the probably longest reign in all of WWE history. But that isn't recognized. That's WWE, cliche WWE. But again, tying into right now what's going on, what's it called, the Bellatron?
Yeah.
Supposedly they're bringing back this thing where one of the Bellas is the new Divas champion, and supposedly she's gonna hold it for the longest time. And supposedly she is.
She already passed it, but hopefully, if WWE plays it right, Charlotte wins it Sunday, which will stop it at 301 days.
And you know what pisses me off? I'll tell you. Supposedly, this is one from reading online. You know who had the last final decision in making the decision to make her not win the belt?
Who?
John fucking Cena.
Seriously?
I'm serious. He went ahead, and supposedly this is a story. He went ahead and said, no, don't have her win the belt because it'll emphasize more that some shit like, that it'll emphasize more of her saying that she's a stronger, character and this, that.
She is.
And supposedly he had some say in not having her win the title, which originally the plan was to make her win the title.
Because the original plan was to have her break the streak.
With Charlotte, yeah, to have Charlotte break the streak and, win the title. And that would solidify, basically what NXT is. But it kind of pulled a swerve and said, nah. So now, there's a lot of backlash happening. A lot of people are saying a lot of stuff.
Only thing that could make this better is Charlotte breaks Nikki's streak.
Why not just have Charlotte versus John Cena? I bet you know who's gonna win for that.
Which also which will lead to the next conversation. Speaking of Night of Champions and Charlotte, Nikki, Sal, who do you think is going to be Roman Reigns and Ambrose's tag team partner for the 6-man tag?
That is very disputable. From what I'm hearing, it's a lot of names. Some legendary names.
What are you hearing?
From what I'm hearing, it's either one of 3 or I think 4 categories. It could be a former legend trying to come back. It could be an NXT superstar. It could be a former person that's been injured or another person that hasn't been competing in the past few months. Here are some of the names. I'll tell you right now.
Go ahead.
Stop me if you tell me, if you think I reached it. So far, I think it's Eric Rowan, The Rock.
No, Eric Rowan has been officially ruled out of Sunday. He's still injured.
Really?
Yeah.
What about? Supposedly he has some ring rust and they can't train him in time to have the match. Who else? The Rock.
I've heard that name thrown around a few times.
What about Baron Corbin?
That picture actually got leaked a few weeks ago.
Or supposedly WWE's done that many times, I've heard, and there have been times where it hasn't happened. So this might be WWE trying to purposely fool the audience,
I'm hearing Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe, yes, that's another name. I've heard that many, many times, and that was interesting because if they do, it ties perfectly in,
And that would actually be perfect.
Indeed, it would. What about? They said it was going to be someone who was out of action for a long time and someone that can legitimately stand up face to face equally with the new guy, Braun Strowman, who is fantastic, by the way. Kane.
Who do you hear?
I heard Kane.
I could see that one happening.
I feel like that's because they've been saying that for weeks, that Kane is going to come on Raw, but there hasn't been a legitimate reason as to why. Like
I thought Kane was going to come back at SummerSlam and help out his brother Taker.
I thought the same, yeah, but he didn't. I mean, that's probably WWE trying to pull a swerve or something, or maybe he's retiring. I've heard Chris Jericho.
I don't know, because I know he's coming back in October.
I've heard that
for the MSG show, which is Chris Jericho Appreciation Night, because it's his 25th year wrestling.
True. And who's he facing that night for October 3rd?
Kevin Owens.
That is going to be epic.
That's going to be a great match. If they actually want to build up a talking feud.
Mhm.
That would be a great talking feud also.
That indeed would be. If it was a promo, that would be a perfect promo contest right there.
Because who's the best? One of the best ever? Jericho.
Jericho, indeed. I mean, I read his book. If you read his book, Best in the World, I have no idea what. It's just crazy. I mean, you can hear it on Audible too. It's great. He has a lot of great stories. He talks about a lot of great stuff. He talked about his time in Japan, WCW, all that. It's crazy. I mean, I've actually heard his book and everything. He's a fantastic wrestler. He's a fantastic, storyteller and everything. He can go ahead and draw in a bunch of people.
My favorite thing's him on the mic against Stephanie McMahon. That's hilarious.
They have a chemistry, no doubt. They have a chemistry, both of them. No doubt.
They're best of friends.
They are indeed. I heard in real life they are. Who else? Then Jericho. I heard that he whatchamacallit. In 2008, you know that period from 2008 to 2010,
Yeah.
where he had multiple stints as world champion, the feud with Shawn and everything else.
Yeah.
I'll give you a sample right now from the story, and I'm probably leaking something out. So if there's if you guys are planning to read the book, or if you're hearing about it, cover your ears now or skip over this part right now. So basically, what happened was, how that feud where they had Shawn come out. I think this is Great American Bash, and Jericho, HBK teased that he was gonna retire. His doctors told him not to wrestle anymore. This is like after he was like JBL's paid man or whatever. And all that.
I remember that.
Yeah. So what happened was, right, like he was with his wife in the ring, and then Jericho says that he rehearsed this earlier on that night that he was supposed to punch HBK's wife. And it was supposed to be played off really, really like oh my God, he hit a woman. Oh my God. And eventually you saw it was really, really good. Supposedly he said that they were going to make it so that it made it less, it made it believable, but at the same time didn't make her feel like, it hurt her really bad. So long story short, this is what happens. He goes ahead, Jericho gets in the ring. There's a cue that HBK's wife is supposed to sell the punches and everything, right? So what happens is supposedly something happens where HBK's wife leans into it or something, and then he leans into it, and then he legitimately punches her right in the freaking jaw.
Wow.
And legitimately, after you've seen it, you can look at it right now. It's probably a Great American Bash. You'll see she has blood coming out of her mouth, like literally. So she said that after he did that, he couldn't believe it. He said, "Oh fuck!" And that he thought he was done. So when he went to the back, HBK was there looking at him like, "What the fuck did you do?" Like, "Oh my God, you hit my wife." So and he said in his like under his breath, he said, well, "I should have never let this happen to you." Like he was so pissed at that time, and he wanted to knock Jericho's head at that time. So then what happens is Jericho, HBK's wife looks at Jericho, gives him this look, and gives him this look and says, he's like, "Jericho, that's the hardest you can hit." And everybody just standing there. There's a long pause, and then it's bursting out laughter. I was like, "Wow, that's crazy." I was like, "Man, there's a whole bunch of stories. If you read his book, it's really, really, really entertaining. I've read it. I've heard a bunch of stuff. He has a lot of great stories like that."
I'm thinking about looking at it now.
You should. He has a lot of great stories. But I mean, Jericho, he's one hell of a performer. He's one hell of a shooter. He can teach. If he's tough enough what he's done, he can go ahead and tell you everything. He got into the ring one time. So it's kind of crazy, If he does come back, that'd be dope. But who would you think would be the two best candidates?
To team with Reigns and Ambrose?
Yep.
Well, just by look and like attire.
Yep.
Baron Corbin.
I agree.
And The Rock.
The Rock?
Yeah.
If The Rock did come out, I mean, that would be pretty dope. That would really put Reigns on the map, I think.
Speaking of Reigns, they're supposedly going to make him top CM Punk's title reign record for like the longest.
That's going to be very difficult. I mean, if you've seen the reaction of the crowd, personally, I think he's probably one of the best talents ever. But all the fans aren't really happy with him. They don't like him being the face. And that's going to be very hard for WWE to do. You think?
I'm not really a fan of Reigns breaking the record.
I mean, he has a look. I think WWE is just over capitalizing on his look and everything and saying that that's what's selling him, which I think they shouldn't, because the fans really hate him, specifically for that reason,
But what's funny though is 2014 Royal Rumble. Fans hated that he lost it.
I mean, it's partially. What you call it? The reason why I think they were taking out their frustrations because of Bryan getting out.
No,
But
I'm talking about last year's when Batista won it.
yeah, when
Fans hated that Reigns lost it.
yeah,
But you saw what the matter of 1 year did.
true.
He wins it next year. Fans hate that he wins it.
WWE fans again, one of the most unpredictable people. Like you've seen, especially in the SummerSlam crowd, you've seen it. I bet if you were there, you should have seen it. There were people wearing Cena shirts, booing the shit out of him during that match. Everyone was singing. There were people singing the John Cena sucks when his theme song came out. People will jump the bandwagon. They don't care. They will because that's the cool thing. That's the end thing. They have to. But
Yeah.
which sucks. I think which really sucks. Which is good to a degree, especially that night. But it's bad too in a degree because it's like come on, why that's not especially then because Reigns he deserved it at that time. But
since we're talking about tag teams, let's talk about the tag team. I personally think the tag team situation that's going on is really good. This is the best tag team division that they had in a long time.
True, I agree. I mean, the way that the WWE, the tag team division now, I was just going to draw that in with if The Rock came out and teamed with Ambrose and Reigns, just like, what's happening now with the Dudleys. If you see the Dudleys right now, to tie that into, and the tag team division. Ever since the Dudleys came back, the tag team division is on fire right now. Especially the feud that they have with the New Day and everything, which New Day is epic, no doubt. Compared to, I'd say, a month ago or 2 months ago, the tag team division was just titles are a game of hot potato. That's it. They kept going from one tag team to another, one tag team to another.
It's like whoever the hottest tag team was.
For which one?
I'm saying that's basically what it was a few months ago. Whatever team was over with the fans.
Yeah. I mean, it really wasn't. I think it was more of who can knock off the the New Day. That's all. I think it was just okay. Who's the more favorable tag team? But now it's more of a favoritism. Like, holy shit, oh my god, the Dudleys are back. Oh shit.
Well, one team I'm waiting is Kid and Cesaro, but that just has to wait for a Kid to come back from his injury.
And he was supposed to. They were supposed to give him a big push, supposedly, but
But he broke his neck.
Yeah, unfortunately, he got injured, and then everything just got full swerve right there. But if that didn't happen, and they had a match with Dudley's, I think that would be epic too.
Because everyone knows. Well, if you know me, I love Tyson Kidd.
Tyson Kidd is epic. I mean, he's very good, especially if you see him in the Rumble last year, or I think it was this year, with Bryan.
He's a workhorse.
Tyson
Kidd is a workhorse.
He is a workhorse, I agree. And I think he should be world champion one day.
But he doesn't have the body, so Triple H won't push him like that.
I think Triple H will someday.
He's a B+ because he's not Triple H's figure for a world title. He's a second tier, so he'll be the mid-card champ.
I mean, it'd be pretty epic to see him be U.S. champ or Intercontinental champion or something like that. But I think if he was world heavyweight champion, that'd be pretty dope. Maybe
I love him. I love Tyson Kidd.
Maybe if he went to TNA, definitely they would give him something.
What the fuck is a TNA?
That's your storyline. What the fuck is a TNA? Speaking about TNA, or supposedly the total nonstop action. You want to hear a joke?
Go ahead. Tell the joke.
TNA, a company named Total Nonstop Action, inducts a referee. Think about it.
That's just ridiculous.
That's just. I'm bewildered right now. Like how the nothing against Earl Hebner. He's doing his job.
Earl Hebner is one of the best referees ever, if not the best.
True, but what has he really done? I mean, he's been a part of a screw job. Okay, you're gonna induct him to the Hall of Fame for a screw job.
He's not even in the WWE Hall of Fame.
Is any referee in the WWE Hall of Fame unless they've been very, very significant?
No, there's no referee in the Hall of Fame.
Exactly. What? They're like the first Hall of Fame or pseudo Hall of Fame to actually put in a referee, which is really, really dumb and stupid in my mind. I just look at that and I'm just like, what has he done that has been really, really influential? Anybody that's ever been in a Hall of Fame has done something very, very influential.
Look at the TNA Hall of Fame. Sting, one of the greatest wrestlers ever.
NWA World Champion, WCW World Champion, TNA World Heavyweight Champion, multiple times.
Kurt Angle, one of the best wrestlers ever.
First person to hold the WCW, the TNA, and WWE World Heavyweight Championships.
And he's an Olympic gold medalist.
And he's also the first ever Eurocontinental champion, and the most dominant at that.
The first Olympic gold medalist in wrestling.
Indeed.
And if you didn't know, he won the gold medal with a broken freaking neck.
Broken fucking neck. And he had one of the best chants of all time. You remember that, right?
Angle sucks.
That Angle sucks. Everybody, whenever it came out, they said, "You suck. You suck. You suck."
Team 3D, the most decorative tag team ever. 24, about to be 25 world champions.
Actually, more than that. They're actually about 45, I think, world titles altogether.
Wow.
45 championships between them. That is epic. That is something that, you can recognize someone for. But, Earl Hebner is just a referee. What has he done that's been very, very influential? If you look at the WWE Hall of Fame, for example, they're legitimately recognizing people. Look at some people like, for example, Larry Zbyszko, very famous champion. He's influenced many stars.
Pat Patterson, the first Intercontinental champion.
Look at Eddie Guerrero, very influential wrestler. First ever Mexican heavyweight champion in WWE.
Edge. Just the name, Edge.
Edge, controversial, yet very, very successful star. Two-time back-to-back. He's cashed into the Money in the Bank. Phenomenal wrestler. Look at, for example, let's see, Ric Flair, multiple-time world champion.
16-time world heavyweight champion.
Indeed. And he's been he's been inducted twice with the Horsemen. These things are something that's, even the managers,
Paul Bearer.
Paul Bearer has been inducted.
The best manager ever.
Paul Heyman, I see someone that's going to be in line soon for one. But see, these people have done something in the wrestling industry that have made them notable for that. What's Earl Hebner really done to really
screw job? That's it.
Really, I mean and TNA really can't mention that. What can they say about that? They really can't say shit because they can't bring one mention about it. They'll say, "Oh, if
TNA wanted to induct someone, you have Bobby Roode, you have Eric Young,
the originals." What I suggest, yeah.
Because they wanted to do Aries, but Aries won't do it.
Which sucks. I mean, Aries is one hell of a talent, but if anything, he should be in the ROH Hall of Fame. Which, if ROH ever decides to have one,
there's so many people you could throw in that Hall of Fame.
So many successful WWE stars.
You could do Aries. You could do Bryan. You could do Rollins.
You could do Raven.
There's so many people you could throw in ROH Hall of Fame.
And Matt too, Matt Hardy.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. I mean, to see that, but TNA inducting him into the Hall of Fame, it's like, come on, man. On top of that, you see TNA, they're really being hammered and battered by all kinds of stuff. You have people going ahead from the former TNA guys, right? They leave TNA, end up showing on WWE the next week. Where back then you can't do that because TNA had some
30-day clause or something.
Yeah, now WWE says, "Fuck you guys, we're still gonna get our wrestlers. You can sue us all you want, but you guys don't have jack shit on us." And that's true. WWE could do that if they wanted to. They don't give a shit. Like, they don't have to fucking say, "Oh, yeah, there's a 30-day clause. You have to worry about that." They're like, fuck it. Who cares? No one's going to say nothing.
How about a 30-hour clause?
30-hour clause. Fuck out of here. Hashtag 30-hour clause. And you hear these rumors right now?
What?
two of the main stars, one you named, Kurt Angle, and Jeff Hardy, leaving TNA to go guess where?
WWE.
WWE.
Because if you remember, Kurt Angle said, I'm taking a break from wrestling.
From sports, I'm taking a break from sports entertainment.
He just said wrestling.
Yeah, he didn't say wrestling. So if you look at WWE, what are they really? And he brought the point up, which is a valid point.
WWE is sports entertainment, and they're superstars.
Indeed.
They're not a wrestling company with wrestlers. They're sports entertainment with superstars.
They don't like to be known as sports entertainers. They don't like to be known as the classic old good guy, bad guy feud. They want to be known as something bigger than that. And that's the WWE's point, you know?
But that's sports entertainment for you.
Yep. Not wrestling. But is that a possible tease that he might be going?
There's a good possibility.
Do you think he actually will?
Probably.
I mean, if you look at WWE's track record with all the former WWE guys and former WCW guys, look at Diesel, look at Sting, look at Christian.
Yeah, the curtain call. Yeah, the curtain call incident that is one of the most popular wrestling videos with Diesel, Razor Ramon, Shawn Michaels, and Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Right before Diesel and Razor Ramon left to go to the Outsiders in WCW.
Have you seen that angle that they've done with the actual fans that videotaped that segment?
That was hilarious.
That was dead. Supposedly what happened was they fake arrested these
the two guys who did the video.
Yeah, for copyright infringement, and it was actually true because this is a legit thing. You can't videotape and post
house shows.
Credit. Yeah, you can't post it up and get credit for it. I mean, people always do it, but unless there's something really big that happens.
That just happened to be the biggest video ever.
True. But it was epic. The way that it happened, it was pretty influential.
I love what Triple H said when they got taken away. Bootlegging is a crime.
Bootlegging is a crime, but he's like, it's all right in this instance.
That was just great.
WWE is always, especially now. If you compare WWE back in the day, I'd say as early as 2009. What would you say that has happened to the product then versus now?
Back then it was so much better.
You think it's gotten better?
No, I think it's gotten worse actually. The story writing, the storylines, the writing, it's just went downhill.
You mean from before 2010?
Yeah.
Really?
Because everything is so predictable now. Back then it wasn't as predictable.
But yeah, WWE has always proven ways to overcome that, Because there was times where, we thought something was going to happen. And
like, perfect example, CM Punk leaving when he won the championship from John Cena the day his contract expired.
Yeah.
No one knew he signed his contract 2 hours before his match actually happened. Until he actually announced it. No one knew that happened.
But, that's the closest thing that we got from, what happened with Luger coming to Nitro?
Yeah.
That was, the closest thing to that, So, in a degree, it was, kind of our way. I think that's what made it so big, But, compared to back then, WWE, like you said, it's not that predictable. Where now, everything is all on the internet. There's dirt sheets. There's people behind the scenes that leak out stuff. So, I think the reason that gotten more predictable.
I'm actually surprised no one has leaked who Reigns and Ambrose's partner actually is yet. I'm surprised that hasn't leaked yet.
I'm surprised how WWE has managed to maintain that. It's like WWE has a formula of being able to prevent fans from doing that. Because at this point, it might have been leaked at some point, but it hasn't been leaked at all, which is surprising.
I'm starting to lean towards Baron Corbin, though, because the guy who actually posted that picture from the WWE website got fired.
But WWE has done it before, mad times,
That's true. Go to ProWrestlingOpinion.com for any up-to-date things with wrestling. Those articles are written by our fellow member, Nick. So you could go there to read. You could check out our Facebook page, Rsn Podcast. You could go on YouTube and check out past episodes. You guys could leave comments on any future topics you want us to cover. Our next one will be Women of Wrestling, the Divas Revolution, past, present, and future divas that will be coming up. We will probably cover some knockouts in TNA, which no one really cares about because TNA is not wrestling. It's just something no one knows what we could actually call TNA.
What, in your words, what the fuck is a TNA? At this point, it's just, it's TNA.
Well, I don't want to take credit for that. I gave credit to Iron Sheik for that line.
He said that?
Yes, that was one of my favorite lines.
I'm sure that he's gonna come up to you and be like, "I'll break your back and I'll fuck your ass and make you humble." which I think is a valid statement because Sheik would probably do that.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a video to end this up right now to wrap this up. If you type in Iron Sheik shoot, you're gonna see there's like an interview. I think it was our video or something else. He said, like they were talking about how a couple of fans they looked at Hulk Hogan's video of him putting Hulk Hogan in the camel clutch. Supposedly, what you see is before Iron Sheik is about to put him in the camel clutch, you see Iron Sheik have a boner. Supposedly, there's something bulging out of his pants as he's doing it, and this is like the most no homo. I'm serious. Like if you look up online, people are actually like I don't know who had the attention to see that, the detail to see all that, which is like, come on, man. Like, why would you pay attention to those details? Like, come on, he's the Iron Sheik.
Seriously.
He's the man. He's the fucking Iron Sheik. And like, it's true. I mean, he was dead ass that, and everybody, and you know what his words were? His words were, I was excited. I had to beat that Jew jabroni faggot. And everything. He's, his regular spiel on Hulk Hogan. But it's interesting.
With the incident with Hulk Hogan now. Yeah. I actually read Iron Sheik actually said I should have broke his back.
You should have broke his fucking leg, he said, because of I think it was Vern Gagne saying, hey, if you break his fucking leg, I'll give you all the money in the world so that he can't perform on WrestleMania and you can come back here. And Iron Sheik said, no, I can't do that because my boss, Vince McMahon, I can't betray him like that. And
now he probably regrets taking that deal and saying no.
I mean, if you look in the books, who really won the WWE Championship that night? Not Hulk Hogan. I mean, they've erased the Hulk Hogan period. So that kind of puts WWE in a paradigm shift. Like, so who did he really beat? Longest reigning defending WWE champion ever.
Yeah. Well, you're going technical. The longest reigning champion ever is actually Ezekiel Jackson. He never technically lost the ECW title. He's held the title for about 8 years now and running.
Exactly. And he's in Lucha Underground trying to defend it right now, supposedly.
And the longest person in the Royal Rumble is Curtis Axel.
Which, they said that they've addressed it, but we still don't believe it.
He never officially got eliminated.
Indeed.
So he's been in the Rumble for what, 8 months now?
True. And win. Speaking of the Rumble, in the future we're gonna have a podcast for the Rumble.
Yes.
This is where also we're gonna tie it up. So if you were to have someone win, who would you be your pick for the Royal Rumble? To
win. Who I want to win in January?
Yeah.
Cesaro.
I thought the same exact name. If you've seen him as of late, he's been on fire lately.
And I think it's time for the Cesaro push.
There needs to be a push for the Cesaro section. There needs to be some kind of program. I mean, they can tie that into Tyson Kidd. Maybe Tyson Kidd comes back. He has a feud with Cesaro for the belt. Maybe there's a program there. Possibly, maybe in the near future. We're not sure yet, but we'll have to see as time goes on.
Cesaro is one of the hardest workers one of the most talented and the strongest in that locker room.
If you've seen him, they said supposedly his record, he's benched over, I'd say, he benched over about 500, maybe 600 pounds, deadlifted over 800. He squatted over, I'd say, what is he said, 315 or 415, something like that.
He lifted the Great Khali and gave him the neutralizer. That just proves how strong he actually is.
He also gave him the what you call it,
the Cesaro swing.
Cesaro swing, the Cesaro helicopter.
He did that. He did the swing to Brodus Clay. He did it to Tensai, to the Big Show, Eric Rowan, Luke Harper. And if you want, just to prove how strong he actually is, go on YouTube and type in Cesaro 100 swings. Cesaro, he did 100 swings.
And this is way before WWE. He did this in, I believe it was ROH, right?
PWG.
On PWG. And he supposedly, I've heard about that video. And supposedly he went 100 swings nonstop.
And if you look in the video very closely, you see Daniel Bryan, you see Luke Harper, and you see Eddie Kingston.
It was that's a very big feat of strength right there. And you saw the WWE they were high on him. And I think, why not now? Why not have him be a star right now? He's very big, very, very, very.
Just start the push after the Rumble.
I agree. They can have a really good program with that. But, we'll see in time. Especially now with all these NXT stars that are coming out, there are a lot of different things that WWE can go now.
And then what they should do is bring back the 40-man Royal Rumble, and you bring in a couple NXT guys. You bring in a couple legends.
I agree with that. They should, definitely. I mean, I don't know why this year, this one that recently happened in 2015, why
that was supposed to be the 40-man.
And then they cut it. Yeah, they said they cut it. They said they only wanted 30 because of time constraints, which was kind of whack because they spent the other time on some stupid shit, which was like, come on. I mean, at that time, the Divas.
That triple threat match was amazing, though, between Lesnar, Cena, and Rollins.
Indeed. I mean, speaking of great matches, and supposedly ever since that match happened, they said that was a candidate for best match of the year. This whole year has been a full contest of many different matches that were supposed to happen, and that was very, very interesting. And they've been very, very hesitant. I'm very, very critical on being matches of the year, or very big candidates of matches of the year. So
I'm not saying anything because you're probably going to ask what my pick is. You will find out in December when we do our podcast of the year in review.
Indeed. I mean, we're going to do so what's coming up next, we're going to have the Divas Revolution, as what's going to happen later on. We'll see. We're also going to have another big topic.
The invasion.
Probably the invasion. We're also going to have another shoot podcast. And we're also going to be doing a couple of predictions and reviews. Actually, we're going to do reviews actually for the next few big 4 pay-per-views that are happening. So that's going to be Survivor Series, that's going to be Royal Rumble, following WrestleMania, and then going back to SummerSlam, and then possibly Money in the Bank. We're just going to be going and talking about that, going through it. We're trying to make it something right there. But
our next big podcast will be the year in review, which will cover. It's basically going to be like the Slammy Awards. We're going to do the categories, and we're going to give each one of us is going to give who we feel deserves that award.
Basically, we're going to go ahead and we're going to correctly look at every single match in the card, every single match that happened this year, and basically just say, okay, which ones were the best, which ones did that, who was the best talker, who was the best guy with the promo,
best feud, match of the year, diva of the year, superstar of the year.
A whole bunch of the oh my god, holy shit moment, anything like that. But that's, again, in the future, and we're planning on making that a really, really big episode. Because
that's going to be like a 2-hour podcast, probably.
Indeed, I will. I mean, it's going to be – I'll be down for that, definitely. I mean,
that's going to be the longest podcast that we've had ever. It's going to be at least 2 hours, maybe even more.
It's going to be an extravaganza. I mean, what I also suggest, we're also planning in the near future, if it's possible, to get a couple more people in to the podcast. We have one guest that's possibly thinking about jumping on for just the podcast. We'll see in the future. But again, if you see, we also have our links, PWO. Please check that out. You can always go listen and check us out on Facebook, on YouTube, on Google+. You can check out the You can check out also, a whole bunch of other stuff that we have going on here.
And all our podcasts, they have been getting much more views.
Indeed.
Which, thank you, fans, for watching them, for liking us. We really appreciate it.
We also want to thank PWO. Nick, your site has really helped us a lot in launching this and probably making it. We're planning on making more and more stuff, and we hope you continue to support us, But we're always looking for comments, suggestions, anything else, any topics you want us to talk about, anything else like that. Until next time, okay?
Have a nice night, guys.
See you guys later. Bye-bye. And be sure to check out PWO. A big thanks to Nick. I wish you could have been here and seen this. We would have gone ahead and given him something. But
he's doing something to help raise our fans, raise our likes. He's reviewing shows, like we said, to keep you guys entertained.
And we're always giving him some support also in the back. And, that'd be really helpful if you guys can do that. So, like we said, Stand Up Revolution starts now. See you guys later. We're out.
Good night. Good night, guys.
Good night.